Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making French onion mashed potatoes. Y'all know me. Any chance I get to caramelize some onions, best believe I'm going to do that and add them to whatever we're doing. And that just so happens to be mashed potatoes today. This is going to be the perfect side dish for Thanksgiving. I'm sure you have never seen it on a Thanksgiving spread, but I promise you, once you make this, you'll be making it every year. My family was the same way. I made it for them last year. They wasn't really a big fan of it. They say, DeRay, you always want to do fancy stuff. They tried it, blew them away. They were like, we need this. So I promise you this is going to be a hit. Try it yourself. We do have a little bit of prep work we have to do, slicing the onions. And we know with caramelizing onions, those do take quite a bit of time. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on that. Then the potatoes, I already prepped the potatoes, but other than that, everything else is downhill. It's pretty simple. It does take a little while. So let's go ahead and get going. The first amount of prep work we have to do is slicing our onions. And we're just using yellow onions. If you want to use white onions, by all means use them. We know how this goes. So grab your onion and we want to slice top off of it. I'm sure I've showed this before. I got my compost right next to me. And I like to just dice it in half just to make it easier for me to cut. And then I dice the root off of it. And then just go ahead and peel the paper back. The prep work of onions can be so brutal. I swear it can. Back when I worked at Chipotle, we used to always have to do I used to always have to do the onions, and boy, would I be in tears. That stuff was miserable. Peel them back. And then there were so many tricks that you can do. They say, put some plastic over your eyes, breathe out your mouth. Breathing out your mouth actually does kind of help. But anyway, going back to the onion. So I'm just going to cut it against the grain. And when I say against the grain, see the lines of the onions going this way? I'm going to cut it just that way. I don't know if that's the technical way to do it, but that's the way I'm going to do it. So just cut them up into thin slices. Very simple work. Take your time. Don't ever rush. And it's a lot of onions, but you gotta think when you caramelize them, they're gonna shrink down, get a lot smaller. And me, I'm always gonna go OD with the onions, for real, because I love them that much. So they look like this. Just continue to work all your onions. It's gonna be good to go. And it's crazy, as I grow up and I get older, and as more I cook more, I can't decide what is my favorite side at Thanksgiving. Like, I really do love mashed potatoes because you can put them with anything. Like I told y'all before, I'm the type of guy, I will mix my food. Like mashed potatoes, that's a blank surface for me. So I can't decide. I love cream corn, cream spinach. All that stuff is great as well. I have a bowl right next to me as well. But I love all that stuff. But I can't ever decide. Like if you say, DeRay, pick your favorite side, I don't know what I'm going to pick. I really don't. It's that hard. Especially when all of them are so good. It's tough. So I'm going to continue to cut all these onions up, and I will see you in a second to show you what to do next. Before we bring back those onions and I'll show you what to do with them, go ahead and prep the potatoes. So I prepped these last night. I peeled them, cut them in about even-sized pieces so they cook at the same rate. I'm sure you've heard that 1,000 times before. And we're going to go ahead and just get these started because we can get these knocked out while we're waiting on the mashed potatoes. So grab you a pot like so and just dump all those potatoes in there. Come on. Try not to drop any. Bang. Ooh, this pot's gonna be big right here, okay? And to these potatoes, you can add water to them, fill them up, salted, you know the deal. But like I said, sticking on theme with the French onion, we're going to be adding beef broth. I honestly have never tried this before, so this is either gonna go really bad or really good. But the idea of this is kind of comes from the chicken broth when you regularly, like kind of steakhouses, they do in chicken broth. And you can't really taste the chicken broth, so that's my idea. That even if it is in beef broth, it should do the same. By all means, you can do water if that's more your cup of tea, if you're a little bit scared. So go ahead and pour this. You're gonna make sure all those potatoes are covered up. I think this is gonna be great. I really do. Not gonna be beefy at all. It might be a little beefy, but we'll see. And then like always, when you make mashed potatoes, you wanna salt the liquid pretty heavily. The mashed potatoes can take a lot. Okay. And so now we're just gonna boil these for 10 to 15 minutes, however long it takes. Today are fork tender, and then we'll bring them back, mash them up, and then we'll get the party started. Now we can bring back our onions. Look at this, this is a shit ton of onions. But remember guys, you're gonna cook down nice little string pieces. You can dice them up too if you want to, but I think this is gonna fit perfectly with the mashed potato aesthetic. So we can move our cutting board out the way. We're done with this. Oh, we do need to prep our cheeses too. So just grate your cheese. I don't think you can buy pre-grated Gruyere cheese, so you're gonna have to do the dirty work. So go ahead and just shred this, and then I'll show you what to do with this, but this is the it of all the prep work. Getting started on our onions, my favorite part. Throw in a stick of butter, and we can begin to melt this down. Nice and easy. And take all these onions you have and just go ahead and place them into the pot. Y'all see how much it is now, right? Okay, just keep an eye on that. These are gonna shrink down significantly enough. I know last week I had trouble saying that word, but break them up and then go in there a pinch with a nice big pinch of salt. It's probably about 2 tablespoons. And then just give this a good mix. And we're gonna keep an eye on this for about 10 to 12 minutes just so they don't burn. And then we'll turn the heat down. I lost one, I'll try to catch that one, but I'll pick that up later. Mix that butter in. Like I said, we're gonna let this cook for about 10 to 12 minutes, stirring very often. And then we'll turn the heat down and kind of let it vibe out. And we'll come back every now and then just to stir it up. Okay guys, so as we can see, they have softened up quite a bit. There's a lot of moisture in the pan. From the salt, the butter, that's gonna evaporate, soak into the liquid, just caramelize them even more. At this step, it is very important just to be patient, guys. Don't rush this step. Really, just take the time. It's gonna be really, 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 really worth it at the end. So just keep an eye on it, check on it periodically, keep stirring it up. Whenever it has some more progress, I'll check back in with you and show y'all what to do, but just let it vibe out for now. Okay, so our mashed potatoes are nicely caramelized. As we can see, looks very beautiful. I'm trying to get y'all a scoop to see, but there we go, come on. Just like so. That took about 45 minutes for me. But when you're caramelizing the onions, just caramelize it to however deeply caramelized that you're looking for. We'll go ahead and set this to the side. We got a little bit longer on the potatoes, but then once that's done, I'll show you what to do with the potatoes, the onions, and then we're good to go. For our cream sauce for the mashed potatoes probably got, not the mashed potatoes, but the potatoes got about 10 to 15 minutes left. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on the sauce, which is 2 ingredients, which is just some heavy whipping cream and some butter. Can't go wrong with butter. And we're just gonna heat this up, keep this warm, so when the potatoes are ready and we mash them, that it doesn't like, I kind of think of why you want it to be warm. And so when you pour it into the mashed potatoes, it doesn't cause the mashed potatoes to clump. It'll keep it creamy and smooth. And then you can also add some rosemary to this, some garlic, any of those flavor boosts to this. But I'm just gonna go with the classic OG. We got enough flavor going into the potatoes. So just keep this warm, and then when the potatoes are done, I'll bring those over, we'll mash them, sauce them up, caramelized onions, cheese, all that good stuff, and we're ready to go. Okay, oh, woo. So our potatoes are done. Now, let me show you how I know they're done. I can already tell they're done, but when you take a fork, poke it in there like butter. Okay, so now we can scoot this to the side, bring back a bowl. Into that bowl, we're going to use a ricer. This just gets the potatoes very smooth. Not very smooth, but it helps it gets it very smooth. It pushes it out just like rice. It's super simple, so we're gonna load it up with potatoes. Just like so. And I already drained the potatoes too. You don't want any moisture in it. And then now you just push it out just like rice. Y'all see? And then now, like I always say, guys, rinse and repeat with all your mashed potatoes. That cream sauce is being warmed up right now, which is the butter and the heavy cream. And once we're done with this, we'll add that, season it up, and we're ready to go. Okay. So now we see potatoes are nicely mashed. I'm going to go in with a little bit of that cream sauce, probably about half of it just to start. So pour it in there. Oh, this is going to be so good. It smells great. Gives it some nice flavor, and then just slowly mix it. You don't want to over mix this too. Kind of like pancakes, cornbread. Shout out my cornbread recipe. All that stuff. You want to make it as smooth as possible. You don't have to be like super gentle, but you definitely don't want to just be mixing it for no reason, you know? So I know I need a little bit more cream sauce. It's coming together very nicely. Oh, that's beautiful. So now, before we add any more cream, we're gonna season this with a little bit of salt. Okay, so we'll add just about a teaspoon. Add that to the mixture. And get over the top with just a little bit more of that heavy cream and butter mixture. And then also at this point, we're going to add our Gruyere cheese back to the mix just so it can melt. Oh, cheesy mashed potatoes. It's gonna be great, I'm telling you. Add that, okay? And then now you just continue to mix ever so slowly. And some people use a stand mixer. If you wanna use not a stand mixer, but a hand mixer, by all means use that, but just mix it on very low speed. Oh yeah, this is gonna be perfect. So get them edges, get them corners. Oh yeah, it's gonna be nice and creamy. I can already tell. Get the bottom. Leave no mashed potato unturned. So, turn the bowl. Oh, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Okay, and what are we forgetting, guys? I know, our caramelized onions. So now, we're just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna add about half of them into it and save the rest for the thumbnail, the topping. Bang. So, now, like everything else, go ahead and continue to mix this up. Get a nice color to it. Oh, tell me this doesn't look beautiful, y'all. For real. I guarantee you would smash this. Carb loading, all that. So, dang, that looks beautiful. I love that. The nice contrast in color. And then, before we get done mixing, I'm going to add just a little bit of thyme. Because duh. You know? And then give that just one quick little mix. Oh, I'm get some of my thumb. Let's taste it. Oh, that's so good. Wow. Okay. And like I said, we're going for another taste just to make sure this is enough seasoning of salt and pepper. So this is where you do that. Add all your flavors that you're looking for. That's perfect. I salted that. Really good. Like Gruyere cheese that has a little bit of salt. And then remember also, the onions did have salt in it. So I'm gonna scooch her back, take a bite, wrap it up, and I'm sending y'all home. Time for our bite. I love mashed potatoes, especially when I get to caramelize some onions and throw them in here. Add a little bit of cheese, some thyme, everything just works out in life, you know? But without further ado, let's go for it. Gotta get a bite of some onions. Let me get some more onions too. I know I got me a thing of caramelized onions sitting right next to me all the time. Oh my God. Cheers to Thanksgiving, or whenever you're making these delicious mashed potatoes, make them. I love these. This is my favorite iteration of mashed potatoes. I'm sure I'll make something in the future. I'll say that again, but I really do. I stand on business when it comes to these mashed potatoes. They're great. But guys, without further ado, I appreciate all of the support. If you like what you see, hit that like button. Comment down below what you want to see, what I should do differently. Let's run it up. Let's do the thing. Send this to a friend. Let them know, hey, make these. Or a family member that can't cook, tell them this recipe is super simple. They just need some little bit of patience. But guys, remember, don't eat boring food, especially on Thanksgiving. If you need to, go take a walk around the neighborhood, come back, and I promise you that food's gonna hit a lot better, if you know what I mean. But I'll see you next week.